Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation.
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac,
I'm Wesley.
and this is the show. Yo, how's everybody doing today? Don't forget to like, listen, subscribe. Hit that bell button so you can keep up with everything we're doing. Shout out to our sponsor, Doc Loves the Kids, Crime Scene Seasoning. Opening today, I want to start with bump stock ban tossed out by Supreme Court and gun rights win. A divided U.S. Supreme Court threw out the federal ban on bump stocks, saying regulators exceeded their power by outlawing the rapid-fire devices after they were used in the deadliest mass shooting in the country's history. Voting 6-3 along ideological lines, the justices voided a criminal prohibition put in place by the Trump administration after the 2017 Las Vegas concert massacre, when a man used a bump stock and killed 60 people. Now, I remember this. I remember when it happened because I went to Vegas right after that. And then I saw the aftermath. Like, one girl showed she was missing an eye because the 223 hit her in the eye, and it went boom like that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
She didn't die from it. And I remember it was at a country concert. He took all the first of all, he had 30 some odd guns with bump stocks that he took into his hotel room, set up a camera outside the hotel room to see when security was coming in, busted out the window and just started spraying people. Now,
Let's explain really quick what a bump
a
stock
bump stock is an attachment that you put on. It's the receiver. I believe it's the receiver of your assault rifle or your AR or whatever you have like that. And you put it on the back, and what it does, it holds the trigger down. So instead of you having to press the trigger every time, it just makes it an automatic weapon. But they say that since the way that it's made, it doesn't count as an automatic weapon. So I mean, they said it's good to go. I wish I could buy one, but I live here in Washington, where they made it outlawed, where you can't own that. Actually, wait. Yeah, no.
I wonder, does this like have a statewide kind of
It's a federal thing,
ramifications as well?
Well, I mean, like Washington State look, if you have a Washington ID, you can't even leave the state and go purchase a fire. I mean, maybe they might let you, but you're not supposed to be able to even leave the state to go purchase an AR style rifle.
Hey, they said this decision was by a 6-3 vote along ideological lines.
Yeah.
And Clarence Thomas wrote the majority decision for this right here. I'm assuming that, I'm not assuming, but we know that all Republicans pretty much voted for this, which was a good thing. I'm not against. I don't want to ever make ban on firearms or any kind of weapons. I think that that's just a pretty much a problem. I think we just need more training. That's what I'm consistently always say, that I feel like we just don't give enough training
and enough mental health and enough mental health care in this world. And that's what's wrong with it. That, kids shoot up schools because they get bullied and they don't have the proper thing to help them with their mental as they're growing teenagers and adults either. My mom said that, the wise words of my mom, she said, look, George Bush closed all the mental institutions. And he's like, why? She's like, watch, mass shootings are going to go up. And they went up because no one wants to address crazy. You want to point at the gun. The gun's not a transformer. It's not just busting shots.
But and they try to pretend like owning firearms are only for hunting. This is to defend yourself against enemies, foreign, I know that's another, but we defend ourselves against enemies, foreign and domestic, whether that's our government, whether that's our neighbor, whoever it is at the end of the day. And so that's why I don't want them trying to put us in a situation where the only thing that we can have is handguns.
With 8 rounds or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, that they're pretty much just, this is just can't be used for hunting. It's not about whether we want to just use it for hunting. This country was founded on dissent. This country was founded on, revolution. So at the end of the day, we need to be able to have whatever type of arms we need to defend ourselves. I just feel like they need to start training people from the time they're young, teaching them about firearm safety, and then training them up. We're the largest standing army in the entire world is the United States. We have more guns than anyone else, and that's a huge reason why nobody is willing to attack us here on our soil. It's also why our government doesn't do certain things to us at the same time, because they understand that there's a problem if we do, and this is why they're trying to take weapons away from us. So I do feel like we need to
go ahead. I mean, they also want to make it so, like, when you're defending your home, you know what I'm saying, you can you can't defend your home. I mean, like, this goes with it. It's another article out in the Bay Area, out of Oakland. A 77-year-old homeowner arrested after murder after shooting a burglar who broke into his home. Now, they're saying, the burglar was running and the man shot him in the back. And so they always try to say, well, he's no longer a threat. And in my eyes, I'm like, he's a threat until he's captured or I take him down, because he can always come back. They need to, and I've said this on the show before, folks, and I want everybody to hear this, and what's his name? Ben Carson. He said the same thing. He's like, America needs to start taking care of its tax-paying, law-abiding citizens before we stop paying taxes and stop following by the laws.
But let me ask you this though, before we go too far. So if a person is running away from you, I know that it's a situation. Let me just it's a situation to where a person could be coming at you and then they see the gun, they turn away and you hit them in the back.
Too late.
But if a person, okay, that's different. But if a person is like running away from you, literally running away from you, should you be able to gun them down?
What'd they do to me?
Don't matter with it.
I'm saying if you ran up on me and you tried to fight me, like, yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass, and then I pulled a and now you're running, cool, you're gone. But if you just came up to me, assaulted me, broke into my house, and you think your ass is gonna go run down the street and rethink of a plan, no, sir. No. No. You're gonna look like them old school cartoons after they get shot. You go to drink some water, bro. The water's coming out your body.
Listen, you're stupid, man. Listen, this is what I don't feel like that's right. I don't feel like you should be able to. If somebody's running away from you,
turn your
you shouldn't be able to gun them down.
Hawaiian punch.
Let me say this: we've had so many instances where people, we don't know what. I mean, we know this guy probably broke into this other guy's house. Okay,
they got the video of the dude on the ground bleeding and crying out like, "Hey."
Okay, but what about instances where you have a person who comes to the wrong door, the wrong house? Next thing you know, this guy comes out and he guns him down. Then he tells you that, oh, they tried to break into my house. It doesn't matter if there's video of it or not. It's his word against whoever else's. All you have is the fact that he shot this person in the back who was yards away from him.
Well, you gotta open it. You gotta open the door and shoot people. You can't. That happened to a lady. Remember, like she went and banged on the lady's door, and the lady feared for her life because the lady, she assaulted the kids, so the lady shot through the door. Now, for me, I'm like, I'm gonna open it up like, pow, pow, pow.
Hey, what I'm saying though is just
and then stand on the body with the gun.
We really have to we really gotta be careful about that, because I really feel like there's just too much wiggle room in a case like that. You just don't know which way something like that's going to go, because you got some people who can lie about what really happened. You shot a person in the back, they're 20 yards from you, and this guy just tried to break in my house. He tried to kick my door. We don't know if he did or didn't. There's no proof. But next thing you know, he killed him and he shot him in the back. What you do know is he shot him in the back. Yeah. He was going away from you at that point in time. But I mean, the laws need
to change. I'm just saying, you break into my house and then you see the guns, you try to leave. Game over, homie. This ain't no. You ain't gonna respawn after this. What I'm about to do to you, I'm saying it's over. And I'm gonna check your pockets. Oh wait, you ain't got shit. That's why you was in my house. You broke in. There was nothing in there. This is the worst case of practicing ever.
Hey, you're stupid, bro. Hey, listen. G7 leaders agree to $50 billion Ukrainian loan. Ukraine loan. Biden reaffirms U.S. military support for Kiev. In Italy, G7 leaders have agreed on a plan to loan Ukraine $50 billion. G7 host and far-right Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said Russian assets frozen after its 2022 invasion of Ukraine will be used to finance the deal. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky joined the talks, where he met with President Biden and signed a 10-year bilateral security agreement with the United States. Biden announced the agreement at a joint news conference. On Thursday, at least 6 people were killed and 11 others wounded when a Russian missile struck the city of Kiev in southern Ukraine. Much of Ukraine's experienced extended blackouts as Russian military increases attack on the energy grid in the region. So this is really why they're pushing to get these deals done. That bilateral agreement that we signed with them, was also signed with Japan too. That's a 10-year bilateral it's almost like a mutual kind of a
well, you said loan, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, we gonna need this back in whatever minerals and riches.
But they told they're not gonna, there's not a loan that they're gonna have to pay back. Well, this $50 billion,
that ain't a loan. They're just giving them money.
They just gave them money. But at the end of the day, they understand it's like giving a person money who's this is their shield.
I want a foreign loan. Let me get 2 million in one of these loans. I ain't got to pay back.
But honestly, this is where the money's coming from. Russia, they seized about $290 billion in Russian assets after they invaded Ukraine in 2022. What they're taking is the interest off those loans and giving them the $50 billion. Like, here you go. And that's how they're going to get the money. It's taking the interest from that frozen asset and giving them that. So they're not really coming out of any money themselves. No one's coming out. Only people coming out of money is Russia. But we got to remember this. What did they do to Haiti when they overtook Haiti and when the Haitian people overthrew the government? They made them pay them back. Yeah. What they do to China when they went and invaded China, the British went and invaded China back in the 1850s, 1860s, and they beat them and they made them pay them back for their lost ships. They did this. This has been going on for a long time. This is not anything that's brand new. And so I agree with it. You know, at the end of the day, you got to imagine they got 50 billion from these guys. We just gave them 60 something more $billion. Plus, I think we've given them a total of 170 billion. Not all of it's been paid out, but that's how much we promised them. Europe's given them, I think, over $100 billion. So it's been funded. The war's been funded quite well, but people understand what the, what the end game is here, and so it's an important fact of it's a global conflict that we're not really seeing all the different ramifications of. And I think this is very important that we made sure we gave them this money. Even then, this G7 that they just had here was hosted in Italy, right? Italy, I mean, the G7 is just 7 nations. It used to include Russia before, but they ended up kicking Russia out after Russia invaded Crimea. So, that's pretty much why Russia got kicked out of it. But they said that the G7 used to be a lot more important before because it made up 70% of the world's GDP at one point when it first started. But now it only makes up 40% of the world's GDP and 10% of the world's population. So they're saying they're not speaking for as many people as they used to have. But at one point, like I said, Russia used to be involved in it. They kicked them out of the G8. They called it the G8 at the time, and so they kicked them out. But they're trying to expand the G7 to make it a little more, appealing to other people. They invited India to the G7, which would be a huge pickup for them if they did have them in there. I think they invited a total of 15 outside nations. I think this is the highest number of outside nations that's ever been invited to the G7. So we'll kind of see what happens. But on another,
I like how they kicked Russia out because they took Crimea, and Russia's like, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, at the end of
I'm
the
gonna
day,
take some more.
And they had to.
Me? Yes. Who's gonna do it? Send one of your rockets. I'm gonna show you what I can do.
I think this is also attached to this whole entire thing because you look at what's coming next is the BRIC nations, which is Saudi Arabia's petrodollar deal with the U.S. expires with no new agreement in place.
Is that gonna make the gas prices go up?
I mean, I think that at the end of the day,
it's already like 550 right now.
We don't really know what the we don't really know what the ramifications of this deal really is at the end of the day. I think that we're in a situation right now that's a huge thing that the petrodollar is because the dollar, I mean, oil was always attached to the dollar. So countries had to go and buy the dollar in order to be able to purchase oil from Saudi Arabia. And it was basically from all of the Middle Eastern countries did it. It was during a deal we made during Henry Kissinger was, I think, Secretary of State during this was during Nixon's terms in office back in the 70s. Kissinger made the deal, which was a great deal for us because it made sure we always had money to fund our debt. Yeah. So this is what it could really help, right? I mean, hurt us right here because we're not going to have that extra money coming in. People aren't going to have to purchase dollars in order to buy oil anymore. They're selling oil in rupees. They're selling oil in UN. So they're selling oil pretty much in every other denomination. I think they're going to end up trying to make their own BRICS currency. So it's a big deal, but that doesn't mean a deal won't get put in place. But I think that this is the petrodollar thing. I think it's having a lot less of an impact on us because we have so much of our own oil at the end of the day. And I think Saudi Arabia is even asking us right now, please buy more oil from us because we used our strategic oil reserve as kind of like a buffer. We had like 500 million barrels of oil in our strategic oil reserve. We ended up releasing like 180 million barrels and we sold a bunch of it on the open market. So it drove the price of oil down. And so Saudi Arabia and these other countries, they had the price of oil came down. So what did? We bought more oil cheaper than what we sold our oil for before. And so we may end up making like over $500 million doing that for the government, which is a smart move. Like Joe Biden, that was a Joe Biden move. People aren't really giving, like I say, they don't really give us credit for everything that we're doing. But I think all these little movements that are all these international movements that we're seeing here, from the petrodollar to what's going on in Ukraine, all have pieces and elements that are together. Or people are attacking the United States and the dollar because they see what we're able to do with freezing people's assets, taking their money, and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, you know everyone's talking about. They're done with that. The other countries are. America's been bullying people for a while. America's basically like Debo on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like not Friday when he got beat up yet, but on Thursday. And then people see that we're split. You know what I'm saying? As a nation, because as a nation, if we're together on something, ain't nobody touching us. Ain't nobody touching us. But we split. You know what I'm saying? Because of politicians making billions of dollars.
But who do you think splitting us though? Who do you think is helping to split us? These other countries. Look at what we just talked about just the other day with Canada. Like they got foreign countries and trying to influence what's going on because they understand when you have a democracy, you're a lot easier to be influenced than when you have a like kind of a quasi dictatorship like a lot of these other countries have. Like Russia, they have free and fair elections. Not, not really, because they're
No, they
killing.
don't.
They're killing.
I done
Exactly.
seen them assassinate the presidential candidates.
Exactly. They killed the one guy. They took him to jail. That was Alexei and Livonia or something like that. I forget his name. He was in jail, and then he ended up dead. They're
I saw the
poisoning
one where
people.
they knew where the camera was and they drove the car, like they drove a truck and blocked it because he was walking down the street, and they drove the truck and blocked it. Then another car came up, smoked him, and then took off. So all you saw was this dude on the ground dead. I was like, yo, that
And
was
so
cold and dope at the same time.
and this is what I'm saying. So we're dealing with countries that have leaders who are in place for 20, 30 years, and it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? They can come up with things that they're going to be able to do 20 and 30 years from now, but we can't do that because we can't get through 4 years with any cohesiveness within our government.
No, it's gonna go be 12 years. 12 years with nothing working. Or actually, no, 16.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna have to slightly disagree because I do believe that Biden has gotten a lot done in his
Yes,
term.
he
We're
has.
gonna
He
talk.
has.
We're
And
gonna talk about that
Obama
stuff
did too. We
but
got free health care because of it.
absolutely. You know what I mean? Another thing, Arizona man planned a mass shooting targeting African Americans at an Atlanta concert to incite a race war, feds say. A grand jury indicted Mark Adams Prieto on charges of firearm trafficking, transfer of a firearm for use in a hate crime, and possession of an unregistered firearm. An Arizona man, Mark Adams Prieto, was indicted by federal grand jury Tuesday on charges of firearm trafficking, transfer of a firearm, and having an unregistered firearm. Their indictment follows a months-long investigation by the FBI that ended with his arrest last month. The Justice Department said a spokesperson for the agency said Prieto is in the custody of U.S. Marshal Service for the transport from New Mexico to Arizona. His attorney did not immediately respond to requests for comment. We can go on in that, but I kind of think that we can already kind of tell what's going on. The investigation into Prieto, 58 of Prescott, began in October after a confidential source reported to FBI Phoenix that an individual later identified as Prieto had expressed a desire to incite a race war prior to the presidential election. The arrest affidavit states the source told authorities that he had spoken to Prieto more than 15 times over 3 years at various gun shows. The chats grew from small talk to include political conversations, the affidavit says. Within last year, the source told authorities that Prieto began making suspicious and alarming comments, including advocating for a mass shooting and specifically targeting Blacks, Jews, or Muslims, the affidavit says.
He's like, I'm gonna start with the Blacks and get Burger King. So I mean, this is not a very, this is a common thing in America, and they kind of just deal with it. Just like, they had the supermarket shooting over in Buffalo where 10 were killed, and they had the video where the guy, he passed the white dude. He was like, oops, sorry about that, and kept going. We had the church shooting in 2015 when Nikki Haley was governor of whatever state, South Carolina, I think it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, black folks need to be vigilant. Like, think about it. He's probably never met a black person a day in his life, or sat down and had a conversation with an African American for more than 2 hours. But see, the news and the beliefs and they tell you, it's crazy in this world. They tell you, hey, these people are doing this to you. This ethnic group is doing this to you. But you know who's doing it to you? The person wearing the suit and the tie, taking your money and asking for your vote. They're fear mongering you.
Let me throw this out there. You know what I mean? So now that I'm really digging into this and reading it, it kind of sounds suspicious to me, to be honest with you. Like this, they said they've been dealing with this guy for over 3 years and he hasn't done anything. He ain't killed nobody. He ain't rode tonight, nothing. You know how I'm saying? Period. And he's been just talking. I mean, basically, he's basically been talking about it. So now all of a sudden, he learns to start buying guns off the market so that, he basically bought guns off market so that, with cash so that they couldn't trace it back to him. He's building up this stock, this inventory, but it's been going on for 3 years, and it didn't start out with let's go kill people. It just came to that. Now all of a sudden he's arrested right before our election when we're already trying to, get rid of gun rights for people, and now targeting black people.
Well, so, you have to realize too, the ATF and the feds and stuff like that, they'll go out and make criminals. They'll egg you on. They'll be like think about it.
You understand
T.I.
what I'm saying?
Think about the rapper T.I., right?
Yeah.
He wanted to buy some guns, so his bodyguard went and procured guns. Some guy came up to him and was like, hey, I can get you the guns. But it was an ATF dude. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason T.I. didn't get charged with it is because he never took possession of the guns. The guy came, hey, I got the guns. T.I. was like, I don't want those. And so they arrested him. But that's why he was charged with so little. So that's for a lot of people to know. But no, they go around, they think people might do something, and then they kind of like coax them into it. Like, hey, oh, you need bombs? I got C4. You need guns? I got illegal guns. Let me know if you want to buy some.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
it almost
it
Yeah,
seems like
they're gonna.
it'd be different if he like this happened over the course of a few months and he was planning this over a few months. This is 3 years, man. If he didn't start out with let's murder up, let's kill some people off top. I mean, what were you doing for the past 3 years? I don't think he got it in him. Is it to me? I'm like, you ain't got it in you. If you ain't went and did it within the first, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
they've been on it for 3 years. That's when Joe Biden got elected. So he's had 3 years to think about it. He's watching Trump Trump got sentenced. He said, that's enough of that.
Well, basically, he said that it says sources said Prieto believes that martial law will be implemented shortly after the 2024 election and that a mass shooting should occur prior to its implementation. And he asked the source in late 2023 if they were ready to kill a bunch of people. You know what I mean? This is what he said. I mean, so maybe like what you're saying holds credence, but it just seemed weird to me. Like, where are you going to be? You know, you're investigating this dude.
They've been trying to set that off. There's so many shootings where they go around and shoot black folks. Like, I want to start a race war. You know, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want the race war. Yes, you may have a lot of guns. You may have a lot of gun training, but you can't take the loss. And I'll say it like that. You think you're gonna go out and shoot a whole bunch of black folks, and no one's gonna stop you, and you're gonna go home and watch Jeopardy? Nah, bro. We black folks, I watch us get shot by the police every fucking week. All right. We lose family members to bullshit like this all the time. A Caucasian girl was driving across the country and they had and she came up missing and they had TV shows about it. Y'all still talk about JonBenet Ramsey. You can't take the loss. All right. We are embedded in.
They ain't got it in them.
You ain't got it in you, bro. When your family members start dying, you be like, oh shit. Chuck Woolery ain't even around no more. You can't. I'm telling you. It's not a good thing. You can't take the loss like us. You guys think it's funny. Everyone laughs, oh, you should have complied. You should have done this because we're black folks and shit. But we see a lot of death in our life. A lot of family members get
take
murdered.
A lot of loss.
A lot
of PTSD. You know what I mean?
A lot of PTSD,
a lot
bro.
Of it, you know?
We angry, bro. We angry. Don't let the Montgomery ball. That shit should have showed you something. Your motherfuckers was out there with chairs and whooping ass. You know, I'm saying we should come together as a country. But if we ain't, I'm telling you. You can't take that loss, not like we do. You ain't gonna like it.
Off top, I feel like, you know, it's just to me, he was going to go to a Bad Bunny concert, and I'm like, they're saying Bad Bunny's a rapper. In my eyes, Bad Bunny's not a rapper.
Well, I don't know. Anybody that rhymes is a rapper. That's what they do. They'll be like, hip hop sites that aren't owned by black folks will post a picture of a dude. He'll be like, yeah, he rapped once in the 2nd grade, and now Jerome, that's 27, tried to rob a bank and kill a pregnant lady.
He seems like a Latin kind of a Latin singer. That's what I would look. That's what I would look at that as. But I mean, he was going to specifically target black people. That's just crazy at that concert to start a race war. I mean, to me,
it's Atlanta, but I mean, like, yeah, why are you going to a Bad Bunny concert? I mean, I wouldn't go to a 21 Savage concert because if they ain't checking me at the door, I ain't coming in either. He gonna whip that shit out. They be like, give me that pussy ass gun, bitch. Give me that. This ain't that. That ain't a knife. This is a knife. You know what I'm saying?
Stupid, bro. But yeah,
Go ahead.
No, you go first. No, you go.
Yeah, I want to do one. I know we're going to talk about it later, but I'd like to talk about it now. The Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed the lawsuit Wednesday from remaining survivor of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, who sought reparations after one of the worst single acts of violence against black people in history that's recorded. Survivor Viola Fletcher initially filed the lawsuit in 2020 against the city of Tulsa and the Tulsa Regional Chamber, the Tulsa County Commissioner, Tulsa County Sheriff, and the Oklahoma Military Department. Van Ellis died last year at age 102. The lawsuit said in 1921, Tulsa Race Massacre represented an ongoing public nuisance, and that in 2016, the defendants began enriching themselves by promoting the site of the massacre as a tourist attraction. This is the reason they didn't give them any money, because they said it was a tourist attraction. Let me tell you a little history about the Tulsa Race Massacres. In Tulsa, Oklahoma was the first time the U.S. government had ever dropped bombs on anything. It was the first time, and they dropped them on their own citizens. And the reason, the sheriff got into a plane, started lighting dynamite and dropping it out the plane onto the buildings because he couldn't get into the town because the people were heavily armed. The only reason they came in to kill those people is because one white dude was offended. And they went in there and killed all these people because one person was offended.
It wasn't something about like a woman had accused someone of something like that?
No, that's an Emmett Till thing. No, they came to do business in the city. They didn't like the way some guy said something to them, so they went to the neighboring city, tried to come into the town. They couldn't get in because the black folks there, they had a community. They was in there. The group called the Gap Band, GAP, stands for the letters of the streets that got bombed. You know what I'm saying? The Gap Band, if you heard the song, you dropped a bomb on me, baby.
Really? I never
Yeah.
knew that. That's
Yeah.
good information, right? That's good, some good
Yeah.
history.
I
I
mean,
think
as
that
long as until America rights its wrongs that it's done to Black Americans here in this country, it'll never be fixed. It'll just get worse. Y'all act
I
like we
think
want to take over the country. We just want to chill and drink Hennessy.
the two remaining survivors, I think, from this lawsuit, I think are 109 and 110 years old, man. And I'm just looking at them like they, that when you get that old, you don't really have that many more years left, regardless of and for them to not to dismiss this case when they know what's actually happening here, how many thousands of people were killed, how much wealth was truly lost. I mean, they got to take it to the Supreme Court, but I mean to the U.S. Supreme Court. But who do we have there? That's going to be a 6-3 all day right there.
Yep.
6-3 up there because we didn't go vote in 2016. That's why it's going to be a 6-3. And these people are not going to get their money. We had Black-owned banks there. We had airports there. They had
bus
everything
services,
there.
all things. Yeah,
everything, all Black-owned.
They're like, you didn't get paid from Love Cross Country. Dang, it was showing HBO Love Cross Country, and then the Watchmen show they both covered that Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre.
Black Wall Street was what
Black
it was
Wall
called.
Street.
They
burned that one down. They burned the one down in New Jersey. Memorial Day is about fallen Black soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Like America doesn't like to face itself, but then they want to be upset because they feel the world's not changing towards them. And so I'm just saying, until America gets right with what it's done to everyone. I mean, the Native Americans got money, they give the Japanese money, the Jewish community gets money, and the Holocaust didn't even happen in America.
Didn't even happen in America. Period. You know what I mean? But they for sure never want to make right the biggest wrong what's made America the wealthiest were Black people. That was where all American wealth was created from.
If Black folks stopped going to all these colleges and went to HBCUs, if Black folks stopped competing in the Olympics, you know what I'm saying, and stop representing the world and let them know, hey, if you ain't gonna represent us, we ain't gonna represent you, and then let America just fall apart really quick. Well, I mean, it's doing it right now. Like, if we don't vote, you know where it's going to, the 2025 project. So
America had a civil war because one side was wealthier than the other side. The other side understood that they could never be wealthier than the South because the South had, was basically that agriculture, and they had free labor.
They had free labor, and the only reason they offered the North offered the slaves freedom is because they were losing. And then the slaves were like, all right, cool, we're going to fight for our freedom and turn the tide of the war. And that's how the Union won. So remember that, folks. Like, you can celebrate your independence, but we celebrate Juneteenth, which is coming up. And that's a real freedom day. Freedom from bondage.
And at the same time, Wall Street was built, not just Black Wall Street, but Wall Street was built from slavery. The first things that were traded on Wall Street was slaves, Black people. Yeah. So, I mean, this country is drenched in the blood of Black people. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there needs to be some type of reparations for what came before.
Yeah. And hopefully it'll end up like the Dave Chappelle skit.
Which one?
You didn't see that? The reparations? He's like FUBU and Nike are the top selling on the trades. He's like 200,000 Cadillac Escalades have been sold just today. I swear, Teddy. He's like, these Black folks are just dying to give the money right back. Like, you ain't never seen that?
I think I've seen that one right there.
That's comedy. It's comedy. Hey, well, let us know what y'all think about the topics. Like, subscribe, share, hit that bell button. This is Uncommon Courtesy. We're going to see y'all next time.